we had opportunities, but when it comes to turnovers, and you look back on our season, the games that we've lost the turnover battle, we've won 2 and lost 3, and the games that we've won the turnover battle we're undefeated in, and that's 6 of those, and we tied 1 and we won it. So, losing the Central Michigan game in the turnover ratio 4-1 was critical in that ball game. Same thing in this last ball game with Akron. 3 turnovers to 0 is asking a bit much to overcome when you're playing a good football team. And so it came back to haunt us again. To our guys' credit, we stayed in the game and had our chances coming down the stretch, but it was a bit much to overcome on that end of it. So we're where we're at. We're looking forward to obviously the opportunity to play a very, very good Buffalo football team. A place where we haven't played very well. I believe the last 3 times there, and so that needs to get changed. And we're all about moving on and looking forward to this game.
Coach, how do you attack this week given the circumstances of tomorrow's game with Akron and Kent?
All we care about is our next football game, and we've always been that way in terms of how we've looked at things. Always the next game. The game that we have no control over will come about. There'll be a winner. Wherever that takes us, that takes us. But we need to do our own job, and our own job is to play really well against Buffalo and win the game.
In terms of this past Akron game, obviously the turnovers stick out, but going back over film, were there any plays that stuck out to you that really hurt the team?
Yeah, there were some on both sides of the ball. Broken coverage, drop touchdown pass. You can go on with 3 or 4 other similar type plays that were very difficult in terms of overcoming. And so, it's what it is. It's in the past for us. We're going to look at improving where we need to improve and play to our potential.
As terms of Friday's game goes, is there any thoughts on scheduling and that you guys have to play the game the day after Thanksgiving and you have to travel on Thanksgiving?
It's what it is. So that we're suited to do that. Obviously, when you're in the MAC, you get accustomed to doing a lot of different things when it comes to scheduling, and that's okay. We get on TV. That's what you need to have happen if you want to have the ability to recruit around the country. People got to know that you play football, and so the scheduling is to us is fine. We'll have a early morning practice. We'll have a Thanksgiving dinner with the team. We'll get on the bus and head to the plane to head to Buffalo.
Coach, yeah, I know you mentioned, the turnovers have been, in last game, were a big part of that. But I guess I know you mentioned after the game that a lot of the stuff had, kind of caught up with you. I guess how can you reverse that going forward as the season ends?
Yeah, if I said, things caught up with us, it probably was, I'm not sure what that statement was about. I'd have to go back and look at that and maybe rethink that if I said that, because a game of football, either you play good or you don't play good, and obviously turnovers is a matter of not playing good, and so it's can things come in stretches? They can, but it's your job as a coach, and it's the job of the player to get that stuff ironed out, and if you're a team that doesn't commit turnovers, you need to do that continually. So catching up with us, I'm not sure what I meant with that, but I do know that we've certainly got to play a very good football game. No turnovers, limited turnovers against Buffalo. We got to get a few turnovers. We got to continue to play smart football, and we got to be a physical football team.
Lance Leopold, he was an assistant under you a few years back, I guess. Do you think that maybe the struggle, since you said you have struggled against Buffalo in the past on the road, do you think like he runs some of the stuff that you incorporated or you taught him, or do you see like
No, I think we've all grown since then, and obviously Lance has had excellent success, and he's a really great person, an excellent football coach, and so usually those things add up sometimes to winning games, and he's done a great job. And I think he's, the record this year, they've lost some very, very close ones. The record could be much better than what it shows right now, if it had any fortune at all. But he does a great job. We've got to be really prepared to play well and obviously execute well.
What's been the message from the coaching staff to the players, just of regardless of what happens on the game tomorrow, of what there is to play for in terms of the bowl game and just
move on? That's what we've got to be all about. I don't care if you win a game or if you lose a game. You can only jump up and down and pat yourself on the back so long, and you can only beat yourself up so long. And so I've done that. I've beaten myself up plenty. So I've moved on. I know the guys have moved on too. Yesterday's practice was a good indication of that. They're ready to try to play their best football.
Is there any update on the availability of Julian Ross, Brendan Cope, or Dorian Brown?
Julian is practicing and will be able to play in this game. Cope will not. And then the other.
Dorian.
Oh, Dorian, yeah. We'll see on Dorian. His is an injury that could come, and he could be able to play, but we'll see. It's questionable.
In the interest of moving on, one issue at Tuesday at Akron was the passing game, and specifically matching up against man coverage. You guys have had some success against it this year. Didn't on Tuesday. What kinds of things can Ohio do in the passing game to, prevent teams from stacking the box, from bringing the extra safety inside it, or what kinds of things can your team do to take advantage of such situations?
Well, probably throw more. You'd like to obviously not have interceptions when you're throwing the ball. You'd like to throw it at a good percentage in terms of completions. And so, we've been a run-dominant football team, and, we weren't running with quite the success that we've run the ball for most games. And so off of that, we didn't really adjust well, and didn't have a good passing game in that game. But on the other side of it, we didn't defend the pass very good either. The pass was certainly not in our favor, either from an offensive or defensive standpoint. You always look at things in terms of routes and what you can adjust to going into a game to help yourself and utilize your receivers the best way possible. So that's what we're doing right now, and hopefully that will show.
You guys are still averaging 40 points a game. You ran for 284 on Tuesday night. So does it seem like quibbling at this point, or because of the fact you lost a game that everything's back on the table?
The bottom hasn't fallen out in that regard, but yeah, whenever you don't play up to your ability, you have a tendency to look at everything, and I think maybe most programs do that. They should, and so you need to look at adjusting and fixing what isn't working well at the moment, and then you go into the game and try to adjust as the game goes on, and hopefully your game plan plays out well. Yeah, it's we still scored 34 points, but we weren't satisfied with what we got done offensively. So that maybe that tells you some about our expectations. If we would not have turned the ball over and had 3 more drives, it's hard to say how many more points we'd have put on the board. Defensively, we're really stopping the run well, but you've got to also stop the pass. Now they're getting a lot of passing yards because they're throwing the ball a lot more, and they're throwing the ball a lot more probably for a combination of reasons. One is our run defense has been very, very strong, and people tend to, if they figure out early in a game that they're not going to make a living on the run, then they go to the air. But in saying that, we can do both of those things better. We can play better pass defense, and we have the ability to be a better offensive throwing football team.
If you're not aware, Nathan Rourke now with 20 touchdowns on the season. He's tied the program single-season record. Just talking about expectations, and the bar is raised, but has Nathan, to this point in his career, met those expectations or fulfilled some of the obligations you thought he could do as a first-time starter here?
Yeah, you don't get the overall stats that he has without really playing well, and so really pleased with what he's been all about in terms of developing into our system as quickly as he's developed, and getting things done at the level he's getting it done. Our players have confidence in him. 2 interceptions this past ball game. Obviously, that hurts him. It hurts everybody. But same as when you fumble the football. Whoever creates the turnovers. But he's a smart football player. He gets things figured out. He keeps working on improving every day. And generally, when a guy is about that, you will see improvement. And so he's playing really good football. He's played really good football this season. He's going to get better.
Changing gears a little bit, talking about the Bulls, Buffalo, Anthony Johnson has had a monster season. What is it about his makeup that has allowed him to have this kind of year, and what can you do as a defense to, corral or hamper his ability to get the football in space where he's been so good this year?
Well, he's talented. He's what you look for, in period, an athlete. And so when you have a guy like that, it's like our positions in terms of when we have someone with special talent, we try to get them the football. And when those guys get the ball in their hands, they're usually very, very productive. So you got to look at ways to try to not let him have a special day, and that's not easy to do. It'll be difficult if you slow him down. Then you've accomplished something.
You talked about, Nathan Work, he wanting to improve, continuing to improve. I know he said after the game that, he has to become a better passer if he wants to succeed in this league. What's it like to see a guy who just wants to, continue to improve like that, just having a quarterback like that?
Well, that's what you want. That's what you look for. When you find one, you have a chance to have someone special. And you know, he's got a great touch on the ball, and you know, he's seeing some things for the first time. You know, one of those interceptions was basically on a zero blitz. You know, and so you know, he learns quickly, and so you know, I don't think in his career you'll see this guy making the same mistakes as he goes through his career. So that's the real key to becoming a special player.
Coach, AJ has been your rock at running back position all season, but in this month of November, he's kind of lost a little bit of his momentum. He's averaged about over 5.5 yards per carry for the season, but just a little bit over 3 in this month. Do you guys try to get him going a little bit more? Is that someone you're going to try to lean on a little bit as you finish out the rest of the season?
Well, we always try to get him going in our offense, obviously, and he does an excellent job running the ball, but he's also a very good receiver. So, you know, there are opportunities to maybe get him the ball some more that way. You know, we're facing most likely some better defensive football teams as we come down the stretch of the MAC conference race here. That always enters into it. You know, I didn't think our line finished things off the way they normally do in this offense line in this last ball game, and so that certainly has an effect on your running game. So a lot of little things can kind of go awry, and you need to get everything back on base again in terms of doing things the right way and identifying the little things that aren't going well, and get them changed.
And then Buffalo, you look at this defense, they allow the third most pass yards per game in the conference, and they're one of the better rushing defenses in the league. Is this a game where you kind of think, all right, let's put it in Nathan's hands, see if he can go out there and throw the ball and get the job done through the air, and then maybe lean a little bit more on the passing game, something you guys haven't done as much this season?
I don't think that you can be one-dimensional against these guys. You know, I think you got to have an offense that's getting some things done on the ground, but you got to certainly be able to throw the ball. So that'll be a critical part of the game.
And then you guys, any team plans for Thanksgiving on Thursday, or anything you guys got planned for that?
Well, we're going to have Thanksgiving dinner with the team on.
It's gonna be a lot of turkeys.
Pardon?
It's gonna be a lot of turkeys.
Well, yeah, it'll be quite a bit of turkey meat cut up and some dressing, I'm sure. But yeah, we you know, always do that when we have a game that's scheduled like this one, and it's a nice event. You know, the coaches and families can come, and if any players' parents are in town, and obviously they can be a part of it. You know, with it being an away game, that's probably not going to be the case in most cases, but you know, any parent that comes is certainly welcome. So we try to have a nice get-together with the players and any family members that we can at that time.